What's up guys, CO here with the first week of the playoffs actually for the NES. If you missed my quick little update video, I ended up losing to Danny in the last week of the regular season, but still made playoffs with an 8-7 record and I believe a +5 differential, which was good for the 8th seed, meaning I have to take on the top seed, which is the AC Milanturn, coached by Dowdsy. If you want to see the first time I battled him, go in the playlist on my stuff. I'll try to link it, I guess. But it's week 3, and spoilers, I kind of got my ass kicked. I didn't really prepare as well as I should have for Rotom Wash, and I thought I had proper answers for Ditto, but didn't really. And Sand destroyed me. So I'm not going to go like quite as in depth with his team as I did in the initial team build, because I already kind of covered most of it. But since I battled him in week 3, he dropped Embor for Heracross and Escavalier for Bronzong, if I'm remembering right. And honestly, both of those transactions actually make my life a little bit easier, in my opinion. I understand why he did them in the long run, and a Scarf Heracross actually could prove to be a pretty big issue, honestly. But him getting rid of Embor makes his Sun team that he had a little bit less of an option now. Because when I initially battled him, I was really scared of Dual Weather and Ditto. And while he still has Dual Weather and Ditto, and I'm still intimidated by it, Zardwai is now really the only thing on his team that even appreciates the sun being up, like, at all, to be honest. So I kind of planned on taking advantage of that a little bit more, and since I've battled Dowdsy, I've put quite a lot of effort into trying to figure out how to beat Ditto a little bit better, and also tried to use some of the pickups that I made throughout free agency to be able to counter it a little bit more. So these are his base stats and stuff. Let me cut real quick. Alright, and here is the type score chart that I made. If you're curious what this is and you haven't watched any of my team builders before, basically I make a chart of everything on my opponent's roster, and then basically just try to figure out what everything's weak to, and the stuff that has more weaknesses than resists and stuff obviously gets shoved to the top, like fire and ice in this case, while stuff that has a ton of immunities and resists like ground and electric in this case get shoved to the bottom and probably aren't very good brings this week. So anytime I see fire that high, and knowing that I haven't really brought Victini this season, like I have, but I haven't really made it like the star of my team, I was pretty excited to kind of change that a little bit. Let me go ahead and switch over to the next part of the team builder really quick. Okay, I'm gonna have to switch back and forth during this part a little bit more than I normally do, but like I was saying in the first part of this, my opponent has a lot of fire weaknesses this week, and honestly the resists that you have the resists that you have don't really counter a Choice Banded Victini very well. Fun fact for those of you guys that don't know, a Choice Banded Victini's V-Create, which is an 180 base power move, is actually the strongest move/move combination that you can do in the game, without having to set up with like a Swords Dance or a Dragon Dance or something like that. So basically I can just come in and click V-Create and pretty much kill stuff. Even his resists like Hippowdon are still very solidly 2-hit KO'd by V-Create. If I learned from my last battle, I know that he's going to be trying to copy Ditto, or copy Victini with Ditto, I guess. So something that you'll see throughout this team is that everything on my team is designed to counter everything on my team as well as everything on his team. When I initially did this back in week 3, I was honestly pretty overwhelmed. Oh, by the way, these EVs were correct in the battle. I'm pretty sure it was 252 and then 4 in... I don't remember which one it was, but these were correct in the battle, I promise. But between V-Crate and Zen Headbutt, I actually 2-hit KO everything on his team. To be perfectly honest, I'm probably never going to click anything but V-Crate, but Quick Attack and Trick are there just in case I need either priority or need to get the choice band off of something and onto a wall that's annoying me. But with how strong choice band V-Crate is, I'm going to be perfectly honest and say I'm probably only going to click that this battle. Technically making her season debut is Leela the Dusclops. If you watched my team builder and practice battle from week 13, you'll know that I've actually brought Dusclops before, and I've actually brought a pretty similar set to this before, but because that match didn't actually count, I'm assuming that most people didn't really watch that one. So this week I'm bringing Dusclops because it's a very good counter. Specifically, as weird as this sounds, it's a very good counter to my own Breloom, which is the main reason why I'm bringing it. If he figures out at any point that my Breloom is choiced, which should be pretty obvious because I'm gonna plan on playing everything like it's choiced this week, I needed to have something on my team that wouldn't be 2-hit KO'd by anything. And I'm not going to spoil Breloom's moveset, but it pretty much just gets hard-walled by Leela, and I can either set up a substitute on the Switch and start Calm Minding or Will-O-Wisping stuff, or just go for the Will-O-Wisp right out, depending on how I feel. Instead of using the typical Eviolite spread of 252 defense and special defense, I decided to invest a little bit in HP because it made it so if Ditto came in against me, I would actually be able to wall it a little bit more. Because I have a Violite, I'm gonna be a little bit more annoying to take down, I guess. It's not the best explanation in the world, but having the specific spread also allows me to take on Excadrill and Salamence a little bit better. I think a crunch from a Salamence only does like 30% or something, so I should be able to Will-O-Wisp it twice if it's Lumberry, or Will-O-Wisp it once if it's not Lumberry, and be good to go. And yeah, that's that set. Moving on, I'm actually pretty excited about this Scizor set because in practice it seemed to do very well. I needed a way to further take advantage of Victini, Choice Band, and V-Crate, as well as all of the other attackers I have on my team that I haven't gotten to yet. So I decided that I wanted to do an Agility Pass set this week. Because he has Sand, and because I expected him to bring Sand like 100%, I opted to try for Scizor over Isildur. Isildur is honestly a better Agility Passer overall because I can pretty much guaranteed outspeed anything after I get up to +2 with Isildur. Like, unless someone's set up to like +4 or something in my face, I'm gonna outspeed it. With Scizor, even at a +2, I don't really outspeed everything. Most importantly, I guess, an Excadrill on the Sand, which is the most annoying thing. But this is basically made to get a clean switch and get an agility up and baton pass into something else. Or take advantage of the Focus Sash and kill Heracross, or, interestingly enough, a Ditto that has transformed into my Breloom. I'm going to be, spoilers, using Breloom a lot this week. So I definitely expect Ditto to be switching into me a lot, so I needed to have a couple different dedicated counters to it. And Reversal, if you don't know, is a fighting type move that gets stronger with the less HP the user has left. This is basically designed for if it's very situational, but I didn't really need a fourth move this week, and honestly I didn't really want knockoff because if Ditto tried to come in, I didn't really want to have my own items knocked off, if that made sense. So I opted for Reversal because it guaranteed that I could just switch into Leela and take the hit pretty much. And it also gave me another out to Sandrush Excadrill. If Scizor is at full health, I can just come in, let myself get hit and knock down pretty far, and then go for a reversal and pretty much OHKO it. I don't exactly remember how low of HP I have to be to OHKO it, but it is boosted by Technician if it's lower than 60. So it's normally pretty strong, even if I don't actually get knocked down to 1% like ideal. But like I was saying, this is mainly meant to agility pass, if I'm being perfectly honest. So, during the last battle, and specifically in the little chat I like to have with all the coaches after the battle, Dowdsy mentioned that he was very surprised that I didn't bring Nidoking, and specifically a Sheer Force Nidoking. I don't know if he was trying to do that to get in my head or what, but after I looked at the coverage that Nidoking had and what it offered for his team, I decided to try to bring it anyway. If you look back to the beginning part of this team builder, you'll see that Poison and Ground both don't really do a whole lot this week. Poison Stab only hits Shaman and Aromatisse, I believe, for super effective. And it's completely walled by Excadrill and Bronzong. But I'm opting to bring it anyway because it hits neutral to everything else, at least. It also gives me an answer on this team to Aromatisse, even though I really don't see it coming. The only time Aromatisse is really useful at all, in my opinion, is if your opponent has a dragon, and I don't have a dragon on my roster. So, if he really wants to bring that over something like a Scarf Terracross or Zard Y, then so be it. I still have an answer to kill it. Stealth Rock is there in case I get an opening to do it. Honestly, I'm expecting this to be a pretty fast-paced game, so I don't really see myself having a turn to waste, I guess, getting rocks up, especially since Heracross, Salamence, and Zard Y are the only things that really get affected by it. Depending on how many of those show up, I'll be tempted to go for rocks, I guess, but I'll see when I get into the battle. And like I was saying earlier in this, I'm planning on playing very aggressively with this Nidoking, as well as playing as if I'm Scarfed. I really want to try to get in his head this week because, like I was kind of saying in my update video, I am a massive underdog this week. I'm the 8th seed backing into the playoffs after a pretty bad loss, and Dowdsy's pretty much dominated in every game except for a couple, I guess. But he killed me last time, so I have to try to step up my game both in team building and battling. So I'm going to try to play this as if it's Scarf the entire time to try to get in his head a little bit. Hopefully to be able to pull off a couple of nice kills just by surprise. And I'm also bringing a surprise Scarfer this week and Breloom. I guess Breloom's not like the most surprise Scarfer because I've seen a Choice Scarf Breloom in OU before and it does a lot of work. But between Bullet Seed, Mach Punch, Rock Tomb, and Force Palm, which is a 60 power fighting type move that has a 30% chance to paralyze, so it's kind of like Scald but for paralysis, which is really cool. And it's boosted by Technician, so it's basically a base 90 move, which makes it very powerful and has a 30% chance to paralyze, which is awesome. With this Choice Scarf, I outspeed everything on his team that's not Scarfed. Bullet Seed pretty much 2-hit KOs everything that's even neutral to it, honestly. If it resists it, that's a different story. But if it resists it, everything except for Weezing can get hit, at least neutrally. I guess Weezing actually does take neutral from Rock Tomb, but I'm not really going to want to go for it. But I'm pretty excited to bring Breloom because in the practice games it proved to be a very reliable late game sweeper. And I don't know, I was watching my battle back last time against the AC Milanturn and I brought it and I was really excited to use it then and I kind of like threw it away because I didn't plan right, I guess. But in the practice games this thing put in quite a lot of work, so I'm really excited. Speaking of excited, I'm probably bringing the most heat Vaporeon I possibly could. I needed a Vaporeon that could answer Zard Y, because the Vaporeon that I brought last time frankly did not do the job. I was torn for a while between an Assault Vest Vaporeon like I brought back in week 13, or 14, I think it was week 14. I was torn between bringing that one again and bringing a Choice Scarf variant. I decided for the Choice Scarf ultimately because, like Breloom, I outspeed everything on his team that's not Scarfed. Scald, Ice Beam, and Hidden Power Rock basically do all of the damage that I need them to do. I'm opting for Scald and HP Rock because HP Rock is a much more solid 2-hit KO against Zard Y. I don't think it's actually going to be a one-hit KO unless he's a minus Spadef nature. If he is, I think it's actually like a guaranteed OHKO, but other than that, I don't think it can OHKO at all. Scald's there for when the sun's not up. It does a lot of damage to Excadrill, does a lot of damage to Powdon, and honestly does a lot of damage to anything that's neutral. I'd have to be careful if Heracross comes because I don't want to give it a Guts boost. And Wish is there just because Vaporeon's base 130 HP actually means that I can pretty much pass into anything. If you look at the HP, I'd get 100 HP back and anything on here, which is a pretty sizable chunk when you look at it like that. And the one speed creep that I definitely want to point out for this week, I'm not sure if this is going to come up, but this is something that came up in practice and I'm really proud of it. My two slow Choice Scarfers are base 115 speed and 116 speed. This is actually 100% intentional because, like I was saying, I expect him to Ditto. I expect him to be Choice Scarf Ditto, and I expect him to switch into my Breloom very often. So that would mean that he switches in and gets my 115 speed and gets the 1.5 boost. Knowing this, I decided to creep Vaporeon to be a little bit faster so I could OHKO with Ice Beam. It's a little weird because I ended up having to run like a 196 speed Scarf on a thing that's already not that fast anyway. But this ends up outspeeding everything on his team that's not Scarfed itself, and speed ties with Ditto, because obviously Ditto is just copying my stats and having a Choice Scarf too. So as long as I can win some speed ties, it should be pretty good. So I guess that's been long enough of Team Builder. I will see you guys in the battle soon. Thanks.